So should we expect breakthroughs from dozens of rounds of peace negotiations and talks? Will Trump pressure Putin? What will the Ukrainians' visit to China achieve? These and other topics we will discuss right now. My name is Iryna Uzlova. Today with us is Michael Sheitelman, political strategist. Michael, hello. Glad to see you. Thank you for joining.
Good evening, Iryna. Yeah.
Glad to see you, as usual and as well. Security Service of Ukraine struck a Russian MiG-31 aircraft as well as S-400 and Panzer air defense system at the Belbek airfield in temporarily occupied Crimea overnight. SBU's Alpha Special Operations Center's long-range drones successfully targeted Russian air defense components at the Belbek military airfield in temporarily occupied Crimea, the SBU says. The SBU continues to work effectively to destroy air defense systems in Crimea that cover important military and logistical Russian facilities. In addition, Michael, I should remember that we conducted a unique special operation attacking the Russian submarine Varshavyanka with a naval underwater drone. Tonight, also, the Ukrainian Defense Forces hit a Russian ship in Rostov-on-Don, and now this ship is at the bottom. The Ukrainian Defense Forces continue to launch regular strikes on Russian oil refineries. So, do we have, Michael, how can you assess enough cards for Trump and for the whole world for a strong position in the negotiation process?
I believe that all this program of deep strikes, this is the part of negotiation program, part of negotiation
yes,
process.
Agree.
And yeah, you could pay attention that last weeks, maybe months, we have stronger and stronger, more and more drones with deep strikes, and also not only drones, but also missiles for deep strikes. And if we started from dozen per day, so today it is hundreds of drones per day, just the daily. This is very regular program. And you just, all the strikes you mentioned now, this is only strikes of last night, just for last night. And obviously you mentioned only successful strikes. I was in presentation of one of military companies of Ukraine who produces the deep strike drones and missiles, Firepoint company. And they said on the presentation that around, I don't remember the exact number, but around only 50% of missions, they are successful. Not 50% of drones got to the target, but 50% of missions. So if we could count, for example, in last night, 3 or 4 big targets, which were harmed by our strikes. So generally we tried to attack 8 or 6 or 8 big targets. Big targets, we mean airfield, for example, like in Crimea, or oil harbor, like in Rostov-Don. It was not only the oil ship, but oil harbor was also harmed. So it is really very tough strikes. And I believe that American partners and British partners, they participate in that, getting us the access to intelligence service and to the maps and to satellites. Without that, it couldn't be so successful. So yes, this is very tough and very strong card. Exactly. Oh, why? By the way, it will be very interesting to our viewers, I believe. This is the card,
Yes.
This is the card of Firepoint. When I was in presentation, it was open presentation for journalists and bloggers. So in this presentation, the company Firepoint, they make it as a joke that they gave us these cards. Like, okay, Ukraine has a cards, and this is the Flamingo missiles, cruise missiles of Ukraine.
Yes, it's our trump cards, the best cards,
Yeah, exactly.
our missiles and our deep strikes, long-range missiles, drones. You are quite right that hundreds, dozens of drones and missiles together also is our best point to show our readiness to negotiation and our best sides of this process, because we should find some compromise, so we do all our best for it. The Kremlin gave Donald Trump a crate of red caviar. I imagine that Donald Trump didn't really notice the lack of it, but it was delivered through Steve Witkoff, the go-to guy, like I called him. Russia gave US President Donald Trump a crate of red caviar from the Khabarovsk territory. The regional Ministry of Industry and Trade boasted about the gift. The delicacy was conveyed to Trump through special invoice to Witkoff. Witkoff sampled the caviar at a lunch in a Moscow restaurant where American delegates were taken after a tour of the city before their talks, 5-hour talks with Russian dictator Vladimir Putin. The threat made such a strong impression that the special envoy was presented with an entire crate of caviar, which Witkoff took to Trump. Michael, how is this supposed to help the Russians win Trump over and help him to get Trump's supports through the red caviar? Really?
There's a big conspiracy around that, really, because there's a couple of conspiracies. First, they gave to Mr. Witkoff the box of caviar, not the can, but the box of cans. And obviously they did not give him the small box. This is standard box. And standard box of red caviar, it is about 8 kilo of caviar. And the maximum which is allowed to go out of Russia with caviar in your luggage is 5 kilo. So if you take more, like 8 kilo, so you are criminal from this, crime. You're committed crime. So Mr. Witkoff committed crime.
Like your teddy bear.
He took the caviar and took it out of Russia. So he committed crime. And now, if he recognized that he did that, so Russian security services, they could offer him some offer, because this is the old-fashioned method of KGB. You commit some crimes, like for example, they give you something, and afterwards they say, wow, you committed crime. Do you want to negotiate about that? You will be our agent. So this is the method to make from Mr. Witkoff the agent of Russian KGB, which is called now FSB. This is the first. And the second, that is something like, I don't know exactly how it works in spies world, but there is a rumors, let's say. This is just rumors, and I don't say that this is true. The only guy which is officially said that this is true is the president of Portugal. President of Portugal said that President Trump, in his past, was the Russian spy of Russian KGB. And there's a lot of opinion like that, not mine, but But the President of Portugal, he is the only big Western politician who said that. But the well-known fact that his nickname in KGB, Mr. Trump nickname in KGB, was Krasnov, Agent Krasnov, and Krasnov is red. Krasnov is red in English. So this red caviar was like hint, we remember who you are. And why I think that this conspiracy could work really. Because red caviar, this is rather cheap food, not not something very delicious. The delicious food is black caviar. Black caviar is
really
10 times more expensive than red caviar, or 20 times more expensive. And the Russia famous with black caviar, not with red caviar. Red caviar you could buy in every country in the world. And each country in the world who make the trout, they make also red caviar. But black caviar you could buy only in Russia or in Iran. That's it. Or in Azerbaijan maybe. So why they give to Mr. Trump, to president of the most beautiful country in the world, they give box of
Right.
red caviar instead of black caviar? It is disrespect, absolute disrespect, or some hint for his past, common past in Soviet Union.
Really interesting, controversial theories. But Michael, can Trump understand that it's rather cheap present? Maybe he doesn't realize, or he knows about such things, or
No. Just a second. You know who is Mr. Trump? Mr. Trump says
Yes.
that this everything in his surround should be the best of the best, and he bring the gold to the White House, and everything should be made by gold or covered by gold, the real gold, not the color, but the real gold. Yes, and he knows what is the I don't know. He know what is the real lifestyle of very wealthy people. Golf clubs and champagne, and not champagne but crystal. He he says not champagne but crystal, like in Tarantino movie. And also the caviar should be obviously black caviar and not red caviar. Who Trump could exactly distinguish between these two things.
So, Michael, if we can conclude that Donald Trump loves and likes all so delicious luxuries, yes, great, why does he need Putin and this inappropriate life to him?
Oh, that Putin knows to do that. Putin knows to do it, like Vitkov also. Putin built all of these palaces in Gelendzhik, for example, and in other places. Putin built some, I don't know, 7 different palaces, modern palaces, I mean, which is exactly like Tsar palaces. And the anti-corruption organizations in the Russian Federation, their opposition organization, they discovered these palaces and they filmed that. And there's a lot of documentary movies about this luxury lifestyle of Putin. And he invited dear friends to these luxury places. For example, the most known example, it was the special relationship between Putin and Berlusconi. Berlusconi, Rip
Yes.
Berlusconi, yeah. And Silvio Berlusconi visited a lot of times these palaces of Putin, and it was like Epstein Island, you know. It is the same Epstein Island, but without Epstein and without island. But believe me, that level of moral and the level of, I don't know how to say that, the level of services
Yes.
and the kind of services, it is absolutely the same and better and younger than in Epstein places. So Putin know how to serve foreign corruption people, and he serves African leaders and Arabic countries leaders with these special services. And obviously, Trump wants to visit Russia. I believe that his memories from previous visits to Russian Federation or to Soviet Union is very well, like from visits to Epstein Island, and he wants to do that again. He wants to do that again, and Putin is ready to give it, but politically incorrect to go during the war. So this is why he needs first to stop a war, and only after that he could receive the special services of Mr. Putin.
Yes, the United States itself is preparing to hold talks with the Russians this weekend. Ukrainian National Security and Defense Council Chairman Rustem Umerov will also meet with the American delegation before the US-Russia meeting. Political reports citing its sources. According to the publication, at the meeting, the US administration will present the results of the latest round of peace talks in Berlin to Russian authorities officials and attempt to persuade the Russian government to agree to an updated proposal to end the war. The Russian delegation will include Kirill Dmitriev, as we understand, head of the Russian Sovereign Wealth Fund. The American side will be represented by Trump's special envoy Steve Witkoff and also Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner. A Ukrainian delegation, as I mentioned, I have already mentioned, led by National Security and Advisor Rustem Umerov. What do we expect from these new rounds of negotiations if Putin yesterday came out and said at the board meeting of the Russian Ministry of Defense that he would achieve the goals of the Strategic Defense Initiative by military or other means, and that he would not give up 5 territories that do not belong to Russia?
Well, the current situation, then Ukrainian delegation will come to United States on Friday and will spend Friday and Saturday, and Russian delegation Saturday and Sunday. So there will be consequence here.
Yes.
Ukrainian delegation and afterwards Russian delegation. But we know now that the head of Russian delegation is just Kirill Dmitriev, who is just nobody, really, and who doesn't have any mandate, any power to take any decision.
Yes.
So that means that Russians send somebody who they don't believe in this agreement now at this stage. If it was something realistic, we were sent somebody more with more authority. It could be Lavrov, for example, or it could be Ushakov, who is the right-hand man in Mr. Putin administration, but not Kirill Dmitriev. It could be also Medinsky, who is officially appointed. Well, he is just the chairman of novelists. Really. Chairman of Novelists Trade Union. Yeah, this is very funny, but still he is appointed by Putin as the official representative of Russian Federation in negotiation. But Kirill Dmitriev never was appointed by Putin, never was appointed by anybody else. Mr. Umerov, head of Ukrainian delegation, he has an official position, first. And second, he is appointed as a head of delegation by President Zelensky. Who is Cyril Dmitriev? Nobody could say. He is just the only his relationship with Putin is he is the husband of the girl who studied, who is the classmate of the daughter of Mr. Putin. So generally, the only connection of Cyril Dmitriev to Russian power, to Russian authorities, is the bed where he spent time with this girl. Yeah, that's it. And this is very strange choice, let's say. But this is not strange if you understand that Russians, they don't want this agreement, absolutely, and they're not ready. And we also know why they are not ready, but we know that all the information what we have about the offer, the Ukrainian offer and European, and by the way, now it is also American offer, it is that we want Americans, Ukrainians and Europeans, we offer the freezing of the war by the current line of front line. And this is not acceptable by Russians now at this stage. And I believe more in the next stage of new sanctions next week than in the first peace agreement with Russia. And by the way, just some 10 minutes ago, the Minister of Finance of United States, Mr. Bessent, said that he prepared the new package of sanctions against Russian Federation. And if Russian Federation does not agree to the agreement during the weekend, so these sanctions will be imposed against Russian Federation.
Do you really believe in that new package? Yes, that new law against such buyers like India, China, maybe even Turkey, Brazil, who still buy Russian dark cruel oil by Russian Federation, that the United States can strike against these countries?
No, we are speaking about a new, absolutely new package. It is not connected to India and to China. And this is the not the business of Senate or Congress. This is the business of Scott Bessent, Finance Minister of United States. If you remember the history of last package of sanctions against Lukoil and
Yes.
Rosneft, the Russian state-owned and private oil companies. So this package was accepted and the first offered by Minister of Finance, not by Mr. Trump, not by the State Department, by Ministry of Finance. It was offered, and the first man who said we will put these sanctions, we will impose these sanctions, was Scott Bessent. Before that, we had a lot of opinions inside the White House administration. But the first time when Bessent said that, so the day after that, we had the sanctions. Yeah. In the morning, he said, okay, Mr. Trump, President Trump will take the final decision. And after the lunch, we had on the internet site of Minister of Finance the decision about these sanctions. So Scott Bessent is the most serious guy on the table and most serious guy on White House now. When we speak about economy, when we speak about sanctions, he does not play the games. All these negotiation groups like Witkov, Kushner, they are players, they are poker players and play the games. But Mr. Bessent, he does not play the games. He is the executive man and he is the punishment man of all the these bad guys, let's say. And if he brought this news, not anything else, not anybody else, he brought this news. It means that this is very serious and it could work exactly next week, like he said.
Super. We will wait really to it, I think, because to my humble opinion, this month and even maybe this winter, we won't see correct negotiation peace deal about really such a strong peace that will be correct according to our sovereignty, according to international law, maybe next, I don't know, next March or something in this period of time.
Well, I don't know about the period of time. And what I heard about this package, by the way, because today, I just followed this news during our conversation, by the way. But yesterday, something leaked to some, I don't remember exactly the name of news outlet, but it was some American Wall Street Journal or New York Times, I don't remember exactly. And they published what exactly will be this package. And this package will be also about the shadow fleet of Russian Federation, but also about traders, the traders who trade Russian oil. This is very interesting getting to the target, Like we had a lot of conversation about China or about India, and it didn't work. But then they started to put the sanctions on oil companies. That means that you can't sell this oil. You could do everything. You could work with this company, but you could buy this oil because the oil under the sanctions, not the company, not the legal entity, but the oil itself, the commodity itself. I believe that today it is the same. If you put the sanctions on trader, so it means you can't buy it from the trader, and number of traders in the world, it is very limited. It is not, there's not thousands of big traders in the world. So it is very difficult to change the trader in this case. And another traders, they will decide, we don't want Russian oil in this case, we want another oil. You don't put sanctions on China, but you put sanctions on trader who sells Russian oil to China.
Not direct path, but path against.
That is better. That is better. Like, for okay, it is very difficult, but you don't have to stop the oil in for example, they have a tube between Russia and China, and when we put the sanctions on tube itself, tube still exists, but we could put the sanctions on the oil inside the tube. That is the difference.
But great work, really. And our ambassador, Olga Stefanishina, confirms now. I see this too on our news line, this information that you're citing to us, Michael. So we'll see. We see that Putin makes incorrect steps against himself. So he had a lot of variant scenarios of peace deals, and but he doesn't want see peace, so he will see sanctions. What signals is Putin's Europe sending by using some, if not all, of frozen Russian assets for military support of Ukraine? And if Putin doesn't care, how alarmed are Russian elites and businessmen by this decision?
It doesn't care. Russian elites and businessmen, they don't care about that, because we are speaking about Russian state money, not the private people money, not about the Russian oligarchs' money. So they don't care about that. But now we are in real trouble, because the decision did not made. They are not made this decision about Russian money, and Ukraine is in real trouble in the upcoming months. Ukraine does not have enough funds in budget, for my sorrow. And this is the funds for the war, exactly, not for just usual life. This is the funds for building the weapon, for stopping Russian troops, for killing Russian soldiers. This money very needed by the Ukrainian army. And if Ukraine does not get that, Ukraine couldn't stop Russian army. That's it. And how the President Zelensky said today in Brussels, he said if Putin knows that Brussels does not give the money to Ukraine, so in this case, Putin does not agree to peace deal, because he does not need peace deal. He will believe that he could really achieve his goals on the battlefield. And if Europeans, they give this money to Ukraine, so Putin's army can't achieve the goals on the battlefield. That is the huge difference. And not everybody in Europe understands that. I could bring the quote, not exactly quote, but from Prime Minister of Poland, Mr. Tusk. He said that this is the price of stopping Russian army, and stopping Russian army not only in Ukraine, but inside Europe. So if we couldn't now take Russian money and give it to Ukraine, so next step of Russian Federation will be to occupy all the Ukrainian territory and start aggression war against Europe. So that is a choice the Europeans, they stay now before.
And Michael, one more question, please. Ukraine's first deputy foreign minister, Sergei Kislitsa, flew to China. It was an interesting visit, in my opinion. What should we expect from him and from Xi Jinping's position at this stage of the negotiations? Because according to conclusions of our colleague, political strategist Maxim Svitailov, he believes that only China positions can be such strong and decisive now. And if China doesn't say anything nowadays, we will see in future how it can influence the Russian Federation.
I agree only in theory about that, because practically we don't have any negotiation with Chinese about the war. And I don't believe that Chinese, they are ready to negotiate with us, with Ukraine, about the war. Ukraine almost does not exist in Chinese reality. Because for China is too big to see Ukraine. Like, we couldn't see the aunt, for example, because Ukrainian economy is less than 1% of Chinese economy, less than 1%. So we are just not a factor in Chinese policies. And I believe that all of this negotiation will be just some technical negotiation. Our guy will not meet Xi, or he will not meet I don't believe, the Minister of Foreign Affairs of China. It's another level. It is the level of economic, some economy, something about agriculture production or something like that. Not more. So let's don't put too much expectation about this visit, and generally too much expectation about our possibility to negotiate directly with China. We should wait the direct negotiation between Trump and Xi about us, I mean. And by the way, I put the most probable the scenario then the fate of our war with Russia will be decided on the meeting of Trump and Xi, not with Putin, with Xi. And I hope it will be in foreseeable future.
Michael, clear. Thank you very much for your interesting opinion, for your time and thoughts. See you next week. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Michael Sheitelman, political strategist. My name is Iryna Uzlova. Guys, thank you for joining us, watching us. Please subscribe to our YouTube channels, War and Politics 24 and Michael Sheitelman. See you later. Take care.